This is wild, y'all. The Pelicans are being linked in a blockbuster trade for a former NBA All-Star. We're going to take a look at the trade rumor situation and also talk about this continued narrative about the Pelicans' upcoming roster this season inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, everybody? It's your people, Melz On The MIC, and thank you so much for tuning in once again to Pelicans Digest. Hope you had a great 4th of July holiday. Got the fireworks off, got the stuff on the grill. Hope you had a great time with the fam. Wife told me I couldn't talk about the Pels on the holiday, so I had to take the day off. But we back once again, baby, and thank you for subscribing, and thank you once again for making us one of the fastest growing Pelicans podcasts out here on these internets. And let's get into the show, man. Let's talk about this continued conversation that we had and we started earlier in the week about Yves Missi. If you recall, at the start of the week, Yves Missi was being linked in a phone call, or the Lakers with the Lakers. The Lakers called the Pelicans to inquire about trading for Yves Missi. And again, the only thing that we know about it is that they called. We don't know if they actually talked to him. Okay, but there's this continued narrative around the Pelicans, man, that we don't have any rim protection, that we still continue to need another center. And there's this continued, I guess, sort of absence of mind along a lot of these analysts and sports writers that that Yves Missi just doesn't exist on this team. Okay, so I came across this article earlier today that was written today on PFSN, I think it's Pro Football Sports Network, by Brandon Austin. He writes that the Pelicans are projected to continue its massive roster overhaul with a blockbuster trade for a $90.7 million former NBA All-Star. Now, again, don't know if this is true or not from what I've read about this story, because I read the article from top to bottom and I double checked it to make sure this is not, I don't think this is a real situation. I think this is just a rumor right now. But this guy, Brandon Austin, goes on to write in this article, okay, that a nucleus of Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy III, Dejounte Murray, Derek Queen, and Jeremiah Fears is exciting, but the Pelicans still lack a legitimate post presence at the center spot. Okay? All right then, Brandon, if you believe that, who do you recommend the Pelicans go after then? Well, Brandon Austin believes that Jarrett Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers could be the solution to the remaining glaring hole on the Pelicans roster. Jarrett Allen. Okay, listen, no Jarrett Allen slander. Let me be clear, no Jarrett Allen slander here. There will be I'm not going to slander that man. I know he's a quality player. I know that much about him. And he's been a very good contributing factor to the Cleveland Cavaliers team, giving them much needed rim protection and rebounding. So there's no Jarrett Allen slander on my part, okay? No Jarrett Allen slander. But at the same time, this article goes on to talk about, well, the Pelicans might have to give up Herb Jones if they want to do it. We have already discussed that. We already went to war about that. We ain't giving up Herb Jones, all right? We all in agreement. We're not giving up Herb Jones, okay? So the thing that I find funny about this article is that it continues on and talk about all these other players on this roster, but makes no mention of Yves Missi. Like, the kid just doesn't exist. That's what made it so funny. There is no mention, despite all week long you've been hearing all these teams talking about they trying to go after Yves Missi, like the Lakers and others. They want to get their hands on Yves Missi. This guy just totally forgets that Yves Missi is even on this roster, that he even exists. So I find that fascinating. But it also continues this narrative that the Pelicans don't have rim protection on the team. And I will contend that by saying we have our rim protection. His name is Yves Missi. That's our defender. Okay? Now, if you want to look at Jarrett Allen's numbers, I'll just to humor Brandon Allen for a second. I will humor him for a second. Let's take a look at Jarrett Allen's numbers. Again, great numbers, respectable numbers for the center position, 13 and 9. But that blocks per game is what's lacking. So tell me how, if that blocks per game is lacking, why would I trade my young up-and-coming talent for a 27-year-old who may have better numbers, but again, when you look at Yves Missi's numbers from last season in 73 games, 9 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game. That's more blocks than Jarrett Allen. And it comes at less of a cost. Not paying him $90 million. We're not paying Yves Missi $90 million. So why does this? So why is there this continued narrative that the Pelicans need to pick up another center? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because if you don't think Yves Missi is enough, you got to understand that this kid only started playing the game at 14. He just picked up the game at 14. He's now, 19, 20, and he's in the NBA. He's in probably the best professional basketball league in the world. And he made it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, what you need to pay attention to, especially if you're the Pelicans and you see it, is that the kid continues to work on and improve his game. Throughout last season, before he got injured, he was increasing in minutes. Now, his numbers look small compared to small but comparable to Jarrett Allen and others, because his numbers started going up as far as his play and his minutes in the game. Because, again, I was at a game last year where I saw this man had to spend half the game splitting minutes with Daniel Tice. So I had to watch this. I seen it with my own eyes. So, again, he doesn't have that problem now. And plus, he was a rookie last season. Of course, he was going to get cooked from time to time from some of these more experienced centers. But one thing you need to pay attention to about Yves Missi is, and because somebody sent me this video on yesterday, as a matter of fact, on the 4th of July, which got me in trouble. That's why, shout out to my man Ben. He got me in trouble for this. Because my wife told me, he ain't talking about the Pels on the 4th of July. Bing. My man Ben sends me this video of Yves Missi working out, and he's shooting three-pointers. And, you know, we kind of started having a quick little discussion about, well, man, if he's shooting threes, it's gonna be crazy for y'all this season. And I'm like, I'm not blown away by this, because at the end of the day, while it's nice to know that my 7-footer can shoot, my 7-foot center can shoot a three-pointer, I need him in the post. That's where I need him at. I need him in the post. So, you know, I decided to go into a deep dive on this because other folks have been hitting me up about go check out Yves Missi's workout videos on YouTube. And if you go check out those videos, all you gotta do is type it in Yves Missi workout. You'll see that he's working on his offensive game. Because I think there's already a belief there that his defensive game is intact and it's fine. I think that's what's going on with the Pelicans. Because again, there were certain games. I remember there was a game against the Clippers last season. Pels lost that game by 3. Yves Missi had 5 blocks in that game. So again, there's this continued narrative that the Pelicans need another rim defender or needs a rim defender, period. We have that in Yves Missi. Another thing you'll find striking in those videos about Yves Missi is he's gotten bigger, fam. He's bulked up, dog. like you can see it. He done bulked up. So again, and like I say, if you go watch those videos, yeah, he's shooting threes, but they're also working with him in the post and getting his post game better, and also working on sort of a mid-range shot that could be effective over some of these bigs, where he doesn't have to put wear and tear on his body, banging in and try to get inside and dunk it all the damn time. He can shoot from a quick level and get back on a rebound. Plus, you're going to have some more rebounding help. So again, you see this kid is constantly working on his improvement. This is just, I think this video is from like 2 weeks ago. So the video that I saw that I took the screenshot from, I think that video is from like 2 weeks ago. So the kid's in the offseason working on his offensive game, and I think, and also more than likely working on his defensive game. All I know is Yves Missi is about to ascend in this second season, hopefully, if he can stay healthy. And I also dare to say that he could be the piece that you build this franchise around in the future, in the upcoming years to come. I think after this Zion contract or whatever happens with him and the Jordan Pools and all that, you can start building with him and putting the franchise around him. If he continues to show this improvement, and especially in his offensive game, I think his defensive game is there. In other words, stop with this narrative that we don't have rim protection. We have our rim protector. We have rim protection to Yves Missi. And it's going to be that way for some years to come if the Pelicans can keep him right. But and then, like I said, I see a kid working on his game, improving every game. Again, this is a kid who just picked up the game a few years ago and is already in the NBA. So that means his learning curve is crazy. He's going to ascend. And I think this is the season we're going to see him ascend quickly, especially defensively. Yes, offensively as well. I know he's working on the offensive game. I believe they're adding on a little bit more things to make him not so he doesn't have to put, like I say, some wear and tear on his body trying to bang with some of these bigs. I think what he's doing what the team is doing with him is fabulous in the fact that they believe in him defensively. So all we got to do is just get him a little bit more tricks in his bag on his offensive side, and that's our future right there. We can ride with that. We can go with him. And I think there, like I said again, dare I say it, he could be a piece that a center stone, the cornerstone of your franchise for years to come, if he continues to improve like this. What are your thoughts on it though, man? Do you think do we have enough rim protection? I think we do. I think we can trust Missi. Just trust Missi, okay? What are your thoughts though? Do you think we have enough rim protection? Do we need more? Do we need to make another move? Because as the days continue to go by, I am starting to think that we are done as far as with this roster. I think this is what we about to go into 2025 and 2026 with what we have right now. And depending on what happens in Summer League. So Yves Missi has to be your starting center on opening night, because the kid's making massive improvements in his game. And I think that's why you could be comfortable as a Pelicans team to take a risk to go jump up and go get a queen and a forward in your draft. I think you feel comfortable knowing that you have that, because again, it seems like the rest of the league ain't paying attention. We are, though, right here at Pelicans Digest. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man, and let's hear your thoughts on this. Do you believe Yves Missi could be the cornerstone, a player that we could build around in the future? Do you think he's going to take a huge leap this year, or take a smaller one? Or do you think he's just not the part that we need? Do you think he's not the rim protection that we need in the future on this team, on this roster going into 25 and 26? What are your thoughts? Clap back, hit that subscribe button, and we'll check back in with another edition of Pelicans Digest. Whenever news, rumors, or whatever breaks, we got you right here, baby. It's Melz talking about them Pels. I'll holla at you.